Dear teachers, welcome to JSN English Learning. We are with Unit 4 of the revised PGTRB syllabus, and we are discussing Virginia Woolf's famous novel, Mrs. Dalloway, which was published in 1925. A novel which was written with third-person omniscient narrator perspective, and it was written using stream of consciousness as a narrative technique. Along with that, there are flashback techniques which are used to speak about the past of the character Clarissa Dalloway. So Clarissa Dalloway is the heroine, and the novel is actually set in 1923 in mid-June on a Wednesday. And you find Clarissa Dalloway is the wife of a very famous parliamentarian by name Richard Dalloway. And she is supposed to host a party. She is supposed to be the hostess. So she is going to buy flowers for the party and going towards the floral shop. And while returning from the flower shop, she meets many people and sees many things. Everything is actually filed in graphic details. That's stream of consciousness narrative technique. Before getting into the novel, I thought I could give some information about Sally Seton. Sally Seton is the most unconventional girl. Now she is a conventional woman. She is married to one Mr. Lord Rosetta. ஒரு பெரிய அரிஸ்டோகிராட் மேனுடைய ஒய்ஃபா இருக்கிறா. ஆனா அவ இளமை பருவத்துல எப்படி இருந்தா அப்படின்னா, she was unconventional girl, a wild girl. Okay, she used to be very argumentative, very carefree in nature, and since she was all the time very energetic, she was described as feisty, Feisty, because of the energy that she had. Okay, she was described like that. She was enjoying life, moving around, busy as a bee. Ana enna panna? She also had the habit of smoking, and then she had many male friends, and she was arguing with them. And she was also very closely attached with Clarissa. Once she even kissed Clarissa and triggered a kind of feeling in Clarissa. But in order to conform to the society, which demands conformity and the pressure, because of the pressure from the society, she married and changed herself and became a housewife. And now she is the mother of 5 boys. Did you get all these information, teachers?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. And I think I have given all these informations. And now I'll give one information regarding Clarissa. Where did Clarissa live when she was in her teens? This may be a question. Where did Clarissa live when she was in her teens? Now she is the mother of a grown-up girl in the story. But when she was a teen, where did she live? Abdina, she lived in a place called Boughton. Borteton. Boughton. Boughton is the name of the place where she lived with her family. This may be asked, so I thought I could give that information. And it was a country house. From country house, she has moved to the city. And she is now the wife of a very big man in the city, an aristocrat by name Richard Dalloway. Did you get that information? Now, very
Yes,
important, most important, unlike other novels, other conventional novels, there is no chapterization. In a Victorian novels, normally there will be parts and chapters. Part 1, அதில் ஒரு 10-15 chapter. Part 2, ஒருவேளை மல்டி பார்ட் நாவலா இருந்தால் அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கும். There will be chapterization, sometimes just with the chapter number, or every chapter will have a chapter title. No such thing is given in the novel. It's one running novel. But for convenience sake, there are critics or commentators or those people who supply notes, they have divided it into, some have divided into 10 sections and some have divided into 17 sections based on the ideas that they could club together. And I'm following the 17 section summary. Did you get that, teachers? I don't want to name certain websites because that is unethical. Hey, அப்படின்னா ஒரு சில வெப்சைட்ஸ் என்ன அப்படின்னா இந்த 10 செக்ஷன்ஸ் மட்டும் கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. But a very good one which goes closer to the summary of the arts. And the arts னு ஒருத்தர் நாவல் எழுதினார் இல்லையா பின்னாடி, அந்த நாவலுடைய சம்மரியும் ஏறக்குறைய இந்த 17 செக்ஷன் சம்மரியும் which will go closer, and the novel also goes closer with the hours. Only a few digressions are there. Adanal I am sticking on to that particular 17 section summary. Is that all right, teachers? Did I make things clear?
Yes, sir.
Suppose if there is a question on how is the novel a novel structured, it has no chapterization. That is very important because it's a modern novel. அப்படியே சாப்டரைசேஷன்லாம் கொடுத்துருந்தா இட் இஸ் ட்ரெடிஷ்னல் நாவல். அந்த மாதிரி இல்லை, அதனால தான் இது மாடர்ன் நாவல். பிகாஸ் அந்த தாட் வந்து இடையில பிரேக் பண்ணிலாம் வராது. So there are many thoughts which come in a person's mind. Okay, it should be continuous storytelling, ஃபர்ஸ்ட்ல இருந்து கடைசி வரைக்கும் நோ பிரேக். அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு காம்ப்ளிகேட்டடான ஒரு நாவல் எழுதியிருக்காங்க. Now let's start with the narration. Okay, the narration focuses on Mrs. Dalloway. What is the full name of Mrs. Dalloway?
Clarissa Dalloway.
Clarissa Dalloway. And it focuses on one day in the life of Mrs. Dalloway. This is a net question and this was previous year question also. What was that one day? It is a Wednesday. And what is a month? It is mid-June 1923. 1923 வருடம் ஜூன் மாசம் மிட் அப்படின்னா ஏறக்குறைய 15th வச்சுக்கோங்களேன். அப்படி வச்சுக்கிட்டு தான் ஆகணும், ஏன்னா the given details is that. So it's a Wednesday. அந்த டேவை ஃபோக்கஸ் பண்ணி and what happens to Mrs. Dalloway? Now, who is Mrs. Dalloway அப்படிங்கிற டீடைல்ஸ் இன்னும் கொஞ்சம் டீடைலிங் இருக்கணும். She is from an aristocratic background. She is upper class housewife married to a very promising politician named Richard Dalloway. And the husband's family name becomes her name. The husband's success is the success of Clarissa Dalloway. That's why we say that she suffers from identity crisis and she is not able to come out of this particular shelling. Shelling. She is remaining herself in the comfort zone. Yeah, she decides to be a housewife. But even being a housewife, she is unhappy, but she is not able to come out of it. She is not able to make a person out of herself. And what was Richard? Richard Dalloway is a politician in the Conservative Party. This may be again very important. ஏன்னா அங்க டெமோக்ராட் பார்ட்டி, கன்சர்வேட்டிவ் பார்ட்டி, லிபரல் பார்ட்டி, நிறைய பார்ட்டிஸ் நேம் வரும். இங்க இவர் என்ன பார்ட்டியில இருக்காரு? Conservative Party. And you find that she has to become the hostess of an evening party which will go with the dinner. And in order to get ready for the party, enna pandra? She is going on a walk, okay, to buy flowers. And where does she go? While going, she starts walking through a garden. What is the name of the garden? Make a note of the name of the garden. Okay, what is the name of the garden? There is a place called St. James Park. What is the name of the park?
St. James Park.
Yeah, St. James Park. And through this St. James Park, she walks and she is going to a flower shop. What is the name of the flower shop? Make a note of it. I'm going to put both these things for you. St. James Park. She is walking through St. James Park and her destiny is Mulberry's flower shop. And where is the shop located? It is located in Bond Street. It is located in Bond Street. This is the information that is available to us. Okay. This is very important. Okay. And now we are moving further. As she walks, when she looks into the greeneries there, she starts musing about her teenage at Burton, her family country home. அந்த கார்டன்ல இருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த செடிகள் அந்த பச்சை பசேல்னு இருக்கக்கூடிய விஷயங்களை பார்க்கும்போது she starts recalling. So it's a flashback. And then you find that as she is crossing it and she comes across the road and she hears a car with a siren passing by. ஒரு கார் சைரன் வச்ச கார் போகுது. Then she imagines that this car is actually carrying a unknown important person அப்படின்னு அவங்க நம்புறாங்க. அதற்கப்புறம் ஒரு ஃபிளைட் போகுது. அந்த ஃபிளைட்டுடைய கிரேசி மூமெண்ட் பாக்குறாங்க. அதுல இருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த கிரேசி மூமெண்ட்ல இருந்து வரக்கூடிய அந்த ஸ்மோக் இஸ் லுக்ட் ஃப்ரம் டிஃபரெண்ட் கேரக்டர்ஸ் பெர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ். ஒவ்வொரு கேரக்டரும் அந்த ஸ்மோக்கை வேற மாதிரி பாக்குறாங்க. ஒருத்தர் அதுல உட்காந்து என்ன பண்றதுன்னு தெரியாம அந்த கார்டன்ல உட்கார்ந்து இருக்கிறவர் அதை பார்த்து இட்ஸ் அ டாஃபி அப்படிங்கிறாரு. இன்னொருத்தர் என்ன சொல்றாரு, நோ நோ இட்ஸ் அ சீக்ரெட் கோட் ஃபார் மீ அப்படின்னு சொல்றாரு. So after buying flower from which garden, which particular shop?
Mulberry flower shop.
Mulberry flower shop. And the flower shop la irundhu varumbodhu she happens to meet her friend. Peter was an old friend from Burton, and we come to know that he was the one who proposed love, who proposed marriage to Clarissa, but she rejected it. So he was heartbroken. He moved away to India for several years, and now he is back. So when she meets Peter, she gets again into flashback. Okay. And you find that what kind of relationship existed between these two, Abhina? There was a kind of affection, but at the same time, they were very critical about each other. Okay, they were very critical about each other. And at that point of time, she enters into another garden. It's called Regent's Garden. And as she walks to Regent's Garden, she happens to meet her sister, daughter. Sister nu solta. Clarissa meets her daughter. What is the name of the daughter? It's Elizabeth, a very young girl. Did you get that, teachers? But the moment when she sees her daughter Elizabeth, she is reminded of her teens. When Peter came to her and proposed marriage, and how she rejected it. And she also thinks about Peter and feels very sorry for Peter. Why, Abhina? When he was a teen-aged boy, he was idealizing her. He was madly following her. And as she thinks about, she happens to also think about her friend who is now shell-shocked. Who is that fellow? Yaar and the character? Septimus Warren Smith. He is now a war veteran, but he suffers from shell-shock. அவங்க ரெண்டு பேரையுமே அந்த ரீஜன் பார்க்ல பாக்குறாங்க. அவங்க ரொட்டீன் வாக் போயிட்டு இருக்காங்க. யாரு? செப்டிமஸும் அவருடைய இட்டாலியன் வைஃப் லுக்ரீஷியா, ஆல்சோ நோன் அஸ் ரிசியா. அவங்க ரெண்டு பேரும் அந்த பார்க்ல பாக்குறாங்க. And what is Septimus? அப்படின்னா செப்டிமஸ் பார்த்தோம்னா from the narrative shifts to Septimus, and the author gets into the mind of Septimus and tries to tell to the audience that Septimus என்ன மாதிரி பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காரு அப்படின்னா, he is imagining that he is a kind of prophet and that he has seen an apparition of his dead soldier friend Evans. எதோட கனெக்ட் பண்றாங்கன்னு பாருங்க. செப்டிமஸ ஒரு ப்ராஃபிட்டோட கனெக்ட் பண்றாங்க. ஏன் அப்படின்னா, அந்த காலத்துல ப்ராஃபிட்லாம் கடவுள் எனக்கு காட்சி கொடுத்தார், அம்மன் எனக்கு நேராவே காட்சி கொடுத்துட்டாங்க, இத பண்ண சொன்னாங்க, அப்படின்லாம் சொல்லி இன்னைக்கு நிறைய பேர் சொல்லிட்டு இருக்காங்க, நிறைய பணம் பார்த்துக்கிட்டு இருக்காங்க. ஆனா இவர் பாத்தீங்கன்னா he is cell shock and he is able to see his friend. That is described. And Septimus உடைய பாஸ்ட் என்னவா இருந்தாரு? Septimus before entering into army, what was he அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா he was aspiring to become a poet. ஏன் அப்படி? Why did he enter into the army அப்படின்னா he felt that it was his duty to support his country. The Englishmen are so patriotic. நாடுன்னு வந்துச்சுன்னா எல்லாத்தையும் தூக்கி போட்டு போயிடுவாங்க, ப்ரொஃபஷன் எல்லாமே அப்படின்னு இந்த நாவல்ல சொல்லப்படுது. என்ன சார் நீங்க எப்படி இங்கிலீஷ்மேனை தூக்கி வச்சு கொண்டாடுறீங்க அப்படின்னு? தட்ஸ் நாட் லைக் தட். We need to understand from the perspective of the novel. The author is trying to speak about Englishmen and their zeal for the nation. அப்ப இவரு என்ன பண்ணாரு? He had dreams of becoming a poet, but what happened? His poetic sensibility was lost because of war. He is not able to get any inspiration. He is not able to imagine anything but the image of events. Did you get that, teachers? Right? And then what does he suffer from? Abdina? He suffers from suicidal tendency. He suffers from suicidal tendency, and you find that he goes to a doctor. First, there is another doctor, and what is the first doctor's name? Abdina? It is Dr. Holmes. Holmes. He is the first doctor, and this doctor enna pandrar abdina? He finds that he couldn't manage. Okay, he couldn't manage Septimus, so he refers Septimus to a very famous psychiatrist. Who is that psychiatrist? Sir William Bradshaw. அதனால இந்த Sir William Bradshaw கிட்ட அனுப்பி விடுறாரு. William Bradshaw, what type of man அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, he is known for bullying his patients psychologically, not physical bullying, psychological torture பண்ணுவார். அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு கேரக்டர். He derives pleasure in making his patients suffer. Okay, and what does Sir William Bradshaw do? அப்படின்னா, after examining Septimus, he tells Rizia that it is better that this fellow being sent to a mental institution in the country. அந்த பக்கம் அங்க அந்த கண்ட்ரி சைட்ல இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு ஹில் ஸ்லோப்ல இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு மென்டல் அசைன்ல கொண்டு போய் இவரை சேர்த்து விட்டுருங்க, அப்பதான் இவரு சரியாவாரு. Earlier we had I think in ugc-ug-pg-trb there is a short story which deals with the countryside mental asylums. Okay, and then what happens is you find Richard Dalloway பத்தி ஒரு சில information இருக்கு. What are the informations அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, Richard Dalloway had lunch with Lady Burton. Who is Lady Burton? Who is Sir William Burton?
Second doctor.
He is a psychiatrist, second psychiatrist, and he is married to a lady called Lady Breton. And this Lady Breton, எப்படிப்பட்டவங்க அப்படின்னா, she was the descendant of a famous general. And there was yet another friend by name Hug Whitebread, a very shallow, and what means very great, but a shallow thinker, and also a charming aristocrat. And you find they are actually in a discussion. What are they discussing? Abdina? They are actually planning to pass a bill regarding immigration, to check immigration. Immigration check பண்றதுக்கு ஒரு பில் பாஸ் பண்ணும். அந்த பில்ல பாஸ் பண்ணணும்னா யாரு மூலியமா பாஸ் பண்ண முடியும்? லேடி பர்டன் மூலியமாக பாஸ் பண்ண முடியும். Okay, after lunch what happens அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, you find there is little problem that Richard suffers from. என்ன அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, he wants to meet Clarissa and he wants to tell Clarissa that he loves her, but he is unable to tell it aloud. அவ என்ன புரிஞ்சுக்க மாட்டாளா, நான் எல்லாமே அவளுக்காக தானே செய்யறேன் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாலும் என்ன அப்படின்னா, நார்மலி லேடிஸ் எக்ஸ்பெக்ட் ஆர் men expect or women expect that love should be declared aloud. ஆனா இவனால அது சொல்ல முடியல. Did you understand the teachers? Now the narration moves towards Elizabeth and her tutor. Who is the tutor of Elizabeth? Elizabeth is a teenage girl now. Okay, and the teenage girl tutor யாரு அப்படின்னா she is Doris Killman. And what was she teaching Elizabeth அப்படின்னா she was teaching history. And there is the description of what is it, Doris Killman. What type of lady was Doris Killman அப்படின்னா she was a poor lady, very very unattractive and at times bitter, and she was a Christian. And you find there is a mother, that is Clarissa Dalloway, is very much worried that this particular Doris Killman will influence her daughter and convert her to Christianity. Okay, அதே நேரத்துல நமக்கு அடுத்ததுக்கு இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு suspicion இருந்ததுனால there was a kind of animosity or hatred between Miss Killman and Clarissa. The second thing is the mother is a bit worried about the intimacy that exists between Elizabeth and Miss Doris Killman. ஏன் அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு பயம் வந்திருக்குன்னு சொல்லுங்க பார்க்கலாம். Why was the mother very much worried about the closeness between Elizabeth and Miss Killman?
She too also faced the same situation.
Yeah, when she was young, she was also very attached, and there was a possibility of she becoming a lesbian. அதனால இந்த பயமும் இருக்கு அம்மா கிட்ட. இந்த ரெண்டு பொண்ணுங்க ரொம்ப, அவளும் ரொம்ப எல்டர்லி லேடி எல்லாம் கிடையாது. She is also little senior to Elizabeth, but she is very passionate. Elizabeth is very passionately attached with Killman, so she is very much worried. Okay, now we find that these two characters, that is Miss Killman and Elizabeth, they plan to go for a shopping, and then you find that Elizabeth also feels pity for Miss Killman because of her poverty-stricken state. Okay, அதுக்கப்புறம் அப்படியே செப்டிமஸ்க்கு ஸ்டோரி மூவ் ஆகுது. How Septimus behaves very strangely. அதுக்கப்புறம் there is a lot of discussion, some romantic discussion that takes place between Septimus and Lucretia, and how they are happy at times and how things change. Okay, did you get that, teachers? You find that as they are discussing all these things, Dr. Holmes comes there unannounced. Why does he comes there? He wants to take Septimus to the asylum, mental asylum. அப்ப இவர்கிட்ட இருந்து அவர் தப்பிக்கணும். அப்ப அவரை பார்க்கும் பொழுது, ஹோம்ஸை பார்க்கும் பொழுது இவருக்கு என்ன மாதிரி தோணுது அப்படின்னா, he appears him like a monster and he wants to escape. அதனால என்ன பண்றான், Septimus runs to the window and jumps out of the window by breaking the window pane. அங்க இருந்து விழுகிறாரு, and he falls down in the garden, very badly injured. And then you find there is an ambulance, and the ambulance comes and carries Peter Walsh. Okay, Septimus Walsh. Septimus Peter Walsh, that's the full name, right? Sorry, Septimus.
Septimus
Warren
Smith.
Septimus Warren Smith. And the character போகும் பொழுது you find Peter. Who is Peter?
Clarissa's lover.
Clarissa's lover in the past. அவர் வந்து இந்த ஆம்புலன்ஸ் ஒன்று கேட்கிறாரு, but he is not worried about the man who is inside. Oh, what happened? Who is being taken? அப்படின்னு worry பண்ணிக்காம, look at the English man's behavior. அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, he marvels at the ambulance as a symbol of English civilization. And then you find Peter lingers at the hotel and then goes to Clarissa's party, and where there are everybody in perfect form, where Clarissa acts as a perfect hostess, but you find that somebody is going to come in and they are going to disclose the secret. அதுக்கு முன்னாடி Peter வந்து என்ன பண்றாரு, he comes and comments on the dress that Clarissa is wearing, and then you find Sally Seaton's arrival. Okay, she also arrives there, but she was not an invited guest, but she pays a surprise visit. Okay, she pays a surprise visit. And in the novel, இன்னொரு surprise visit கொடுக்கிறது யாரு அப்படின்னா, the Prime Minister arrives there, and he actually is very happy with the reception that is given by Clarissa. அதுக்கப்புறம் you find Sir William Bradshaw. He comes bit late for the party, and everybody is asking why he is bit late. And Sir William Bradshaw tells the hostess Clarissa that Septimus has committed suicide, but without much emotion. அவர் ரொம்ப டிஸ்டர்ப்ட் ஆகாம செப்டிமஸ் இருக்கான்ல அவன் செத்து போயிட்டான் அப்படின்னு ரொம்ப பிளைனா சொல்றாரு. And the moment Clarissa hears it, as she drifts into a stream of thoughts, okay, as she drifts into a stream of thoughts, and she feels that, okay, என்ன பண்றாங்க அப்படின்னா, that Septimus has freed himself from the clutches of the world, but she feels that she is not able to do so. அவன் வந்து தப்பிச்சு போயிட்டா நம்மளால என்ன பண்ண முடியல, செப்டிமஸ் மாதிரி தப்பிச்சு போக முடியல. Okay, so she starts thinking about her own existence. Okay, and how does Clarissa look at Septimus Warren Smith's act of suicide அப்படின்னா, she considers that suicide as an act of communicating to the world how a tortured soul should come out of existence. Okay, at that point of time, you find Peter and Sally, they are actually reminiscing about their past days and how they spend timing with Clarissa. And Clarissa finally appears. And when Clarissa comes in a changed costume, Peter is filled with two different feelings. One is very happy because he has been gifted with such a beautiful beautiful wife. At the same time, he is afraid that he cannot control Clarissa any longer. Did you understand this, teachers? That is how the novel ends. Which means there is a lot of change in Clarissa. So Clarissa has decided to turn a new leaf in her life. She has decided to do something. What is that something? Nobody knows. It's open-ended novel. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we have completed the short summary.